Getting the smile and confidence you've been dreaming about, all from the comfort of your home, isn't a total mystery with Byte clear aligners. Just don't be surprised if all your friends start asking, "What's your secret?" Begin by ordering your at-home impression kit today for only $14.95. Byte clear aligners are doctor-directed and delivered to your door. Treatment costs thousands less than braces, plus they offer flexible financing, accept eligible insurance, and you can pay with your HSA FSA. Get 80% off your impression kit when you use code WONDERY at Byte.com. That's BYTE.com. Start your confidence journey today with Byte.
This podcast is brought to you by eHarmony, the dating app to find someone you can be yourself with. Why doesn't eHarmony allow copy and paste in first messages? Because you are unique, and your conversations should reflect that. eHarmony wants you to find someone who will get you. How are you going to know who gets you if people send you the same generic conversation starters they message everyone else? Conversations that actually help you get to know each other. Imagine that. Get who gets you on eHarmony. Sign up today.
Congratulations. You've connected with the Pulpit Perspectives podcast. Join Reverend Dr. Kent Lundy as he connects with pastors where they preach, literally at the pulpit of their church. It's a point of view with purpose and personality that informs and inspires with real life stories from great preachers you need to know. Your host is Reverend Dr. Kent Lundy. Let's join Kent at a pulpit with a fresh perspective from his guest preacher.
Well, hello and welcome to Pulpit Perspectives Podcast. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Kent Lundy. Pulpit Perspective Podcast exists to encourage connections among clergy and their congregations. I'm standing at the pulpit in Inwood United Methodist Church in Inwood, Indiana, with the pastor, Pastor Becky Baker. Becky, welcome to Pulpit Perspectives Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you're welcome. So how long have you been the pastor of Inwood United Methodist Church?
For 16 months.
16 months?
Yes. This was my first appointment.
Okay. And this isn't your only appointment, as I understand it. Mm-hmm. So where else are you serving?
I also have Riverside in Bremen.
Riverside and Bremen.
Mm-hmm.
And how long have you served there?
The same.
Same time?
Yes,
okay.
They are it's a dual pastorate.
Okay. So you came to both churches about 16 months ago?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what are you celebrating?
What am I celebrating? I am celebrating that God is so good that he led me to this particular time in my life. It's a whole new chapter in my life. After, years being in the retail and always having a heart for God, this is exactly where I want to be.
Wow. That is worth celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's wonderful. Okay. So who encouraged your call to ministry?
Let's see. Well, first of all, I think it was Pastor Shar Cobb at Riverside, or River Park United Methodist Church in South Bend. Her and I met at Clay United Methodist Church when she was the children's ministry director. Mm-hmm. And I always had a heart wanting to do something for God, but I had no idea. I believed in Christ since I was very young. But anyway, she invited me to be part of Sidewalk Sunday School, it was inner city ministry. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to be scared to death, I'm going to be standing in front of these kids that are going to have an attitude, and I'm going to be scared to death. She said, oh, just come and watch. So I did, and I fell in love with it immediately. I thought, I can do this. And so for the next 8 years, I served there as the music and teacher. Shar was there for a while, but then she went into school, so I was still there. And then after that, at my home church of Evangel Heights, Pastor Pat Summers encouraged me to do the children's sermon for him. And I said, okay, I'll give it a try. And we ended up being a great pair. I mean, when he would give me what he was going to do and just enough to prime the pump, so to speak, I would end up doing a part of it that he didn't do in his sermon. And it was just every week it was like that. I said, God is good. He just shows us all the time what to talk about. And so then when Shar says to me one day, well, you should go back to school. And I was like 54 at the time. I said, are you crazy? Do you know how old I would be by the time I would graduate? And she just laughed. So that's all she said. And then my daughter was sitting in the pew at Evangel Heights and reached back and picked up a pamphlet from Bethel College. And it was for a degree in ministry, Bible and ministry. She hands it to me. So that was number 2. For some reason, I can't remember what third was, but I knew that God was telling me, yes, you can do this. So for the next 7 years, I was going to Bethel and got my BA in Bible and ministry. And of course, they had 3 paths. One was for pastoral, one was youth ministry, and one was missionary. And I'm like, I don't know, the pastor one looks really interesting. I could be a really good support for my pastor. That's what I thought. So as the years went on, God kept telling me, yes, you are going to go this direction. And it took me another 5 years to give in. And it was at a charge conference with Marty.
Okay.
Walked in the door. So I've had a series of people, as you can see, have been moving me.
Yes.
I walked in the narthex and I was running around doing the things I need to do to get ready. And I had never met him before, Mike Settles, Pastor Mike Settles. And I introduced myself to him, and then I went off and did whatever I was doing. And pretty soon he goes, Becky, come here. I want to talk to you. I'm like, okay. So I went over and I sat down. And at that time, we were all wearing masks. So all you could see is each other's eyes. And he looked at me and he said, so tell me about yourself. And so I told him about the normal things that most people tell everybody about their life. And I said, I thought about being a local pastor, but I don't think I'm cut out for that. And he looked directly at me with those big blue eyes and he said, don't be too sure about giving that up yet. And I was like, whoa, do I feel like I just got talked to by God? Went into the sanctuary for the charge conference, and your wife is preaching on snail snot and how stinky it is and how ministry can be that way, but other times it's not. And at the end, of course, we do her favorite song, which is also my favorite song, was Here I Am, Lord. And so as we're singing, I'm going, Lord, I don't want to sing this to you today. I don't want to sing this. But by the time I walked out, I went to Pastor Pat and said, Pat, it's time. I have to move forward. Okay. And so he began to mentor me. And that's how I ended up here.
Wow.
Yes.
What a great story of blessing and you saying yes and the call. God has not stopped blessing me since I took this call. I mean, it's just been one thing after another, whether it was when I left my other home, because my husband and I separated, I left everything but my grandmother and mother's things and my clothes. So I didn't have any furniture. I did have parsonage, but I didn't have anything else. Out of the woodwork, I got furniture, beds, and I have a full house now. In 16 months, I have a very nice house. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I was like, wow, God, I apparently did the right thing.
There you go.
I listened to him.
There you go. All right. Well, what do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? Most of the time, it's spending time with my grandsons. And we might not do anything more than check out all the different shopping places because they love to go shopping. But I also love spending time with my family. And the blessing of being here, my youngest daughter and her family decided to, since South Whitley disaffiliated, they decided to drive 40 minutes to come to church here. And the people just welcome them with open arms. And so when they get done here, they go to my house and they fix lunch while I'm at Riverside. Okay. And I come home and we have a family dinner.
Wow.
I mean, to me, that is just like my dream come true.
There you go.
Know? So really, other than that, there's not a lot I have time for to do much other.
Okay. All right. So what is your go-to Bible verse?
I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And that has been my verse since way back 40 years ago. Whenever I'm under stress, especially, that will always pop into my head.
Okay. That's a good one. All right. Who or what keeps you humble? Who or what keeps you humble?
I think it's circumstances all through my life. I found that I could not get away with things. I knew that, and the other is also like times when things are being videotaped or whatever, and I'm not in them. I'm like, how come I'm never in them? oh, I guess God's keeping me from getting a big head.
Mhm.
But it just seems like circumstances
Mhm.
seem to do that.
Okay. And it sounds like you're a good student of those circumstances to
Mhm.
say, okay, what's the lesson I'm supposed to be taking from this?
Exactly.
So good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. So if you only had one preacher
Mhm.
to listen to the rest of your life, so one preacher the rest of your life, who would that one preacher be that you would listen to?
Oh my gosh, I've had several really good ones. I don't know if I can have one.
Yes.
I have to have one.
Yes. I know I'm not fair, but pick one, please.
Okay, I think, is it one that I know or one that I'm on? It doesn't matter.
Does not matter. Just
Chuck Swindoll has been there for me for many years. I used to live in South Bend and worked in Elkhart at Concord Mall. And so it was a 45-minute drive. So if I was going in early, I listened to him on the way in. If I was coming home, I was listening to him on the way home. And he really is, he's so solid. And I keep listening to him thinking, I wish I could preach like he does. You know?
okay.
Yeah.
Chuck Swindoll.
Mhm.
Got it. All right. So who are you, Mary or Martha?
Oh my goodness, depends on the moment. Most of the time, I'm probably, oh boy, a lot of times I'm Martha. I think most of us are. I'm always rushing around trying to get things ready so that it's just right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And whether it's for my family coming over or whether I'm having other company, it's like, I got to have my house totally perfect. It has to be ready to welcome them. And I learned that from my grandmother because I one day realized she really loves us because she always makes sure we have a really nice place to come to, you know, that we were important enough for her to do that.
That is a great perspective to
Mhm.
say, I'm giving you the gift of hospitality
Mm-hmm.
by preparing this for you
Uh-huh.
and getting ready for you.
Yeah.
What a gift. And for you to
Mhm.
continue that tradition
Yeah.
of your grandmother. I
Mhm.
like it. All right. So who from the Bible would you like to go axe throwing with? So you're going axe throwing, all right, for debate, and you're going to pick a partner from the Bible to go axe throwing. So who is that partner?
Probably Samson
Oh,
because
okay.
he's very strong.
Very strong. Yes.
He wasn't a good example, but he was very strong.
So you would want his strength.
Yes. Yes.
All right. How do you think he would coach you? What kind of coach do you imagine him to be for axe throwing?
I think he'd be really good at teaching being diligent and focusing.
Like keeping your eye on the target
Uh-huh.
and the technique
Yeah.
of how to.
Yeah. I'm really taking Samson out of context, though.
Yeah, well,
I think.
Yeah, no, but I you can't go wrong with the strength. I mean,
Yeah,
it's got to take muscle to,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
to get that axe with the
Yeah.
momentum. All right, Samson, I like it. What is your favorite church season?
I think it's Easter. I mean, this year especially, I kept preaching about it being the most important day of the year. And it's just, I'm having trouble getting people to get really excited about that day. Everybody gets more excited about Christmas, but it really is, Easter is the most exciting.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that Easter season,
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like it. Okay. So what do you hope your clergy colleagues know? When you think about your clergy colleagues, whether you know them directly or indirectly,
Mhm.
What do you hope they know?
Well, I hope they know that I love Jesus Christ and that I am in 100% and I'm there to support them and help them wherever I can.
Okay. That's great to know that,
Mhm.
that you are an ally with them.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay. Last question. So I'm going to give you 3 words.
Okay.
So you have 3 words. So when you think about your future pastoral leadership to your 2 churches, and you think about your future as their leader and them as your flock, what 3 words come to mind when you think about your future together?
Growing, number 1, that we are growing in our understanding of who Jesus is and to embrace him much more than we do. I mean, I don't think any of us embrace him enough to abide in him. And this week, I'm going to be talking about that abiding. And I want us to be in harmony always. And I want us to be able to love each other as Jesus asked us to love each other, as God loved us.
So growing, abiding, and harmony.
Mm-hmm.
Growing, abiding, and harmony. Those are some great words.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that will be my hope and prayer for you and your future at your two congregations as you lean into that, as you model that, as you challenge and encourage your folks to do that as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, Becky Baker, thank you so much for being a guest on the Pulpit Perspectives podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you're
like
welcome.
Always.
So this has been Pulpit Perspectives podcast, which exists to create connections among clergy and their congregations. If you want to learn more about all the great things that God is doing in the North District, I would invite you to check out the Facebook page, as well as checking out the North District page on the conference website. And you can find that at inumc.org, inumc.org. That's the official website of the Indiana Annual Conference. So this has been Pulpit Perspectives Podcast, and I've been your host, Reverend Dr. Kent Lundy, and we will see you next time.
There you have it, a fresh perspective from the pulpit with a great preacher. You know you want to hear more. You can do just that by connecting with Pulpit Perspectives with Reverend Dr. Kent Lundy on Apple Podcast and Spotify, where you can like and follow the podcast. What's more, you can spread the good news about Pulpit Perspectives in your church and with your neighbors. Plan now on joining Kent at the pulpit, where you'll meet another great preacher on Pulpit Perspectives.